Hi and welcome to yet another episode. Now here's something that I've been wanting for a long time. It's very heavy. It's precariously balanced on my lap right now, but I don't want to reveal to you instantly what it is. I'm not even going to put in the title what it is. I'm just going to say it's an unboxing. But it is something I've been wanting for ages. And I'm really surprised by the instructions to open this cardboard box, as if they think you're that dumb you can't figure it out. But this is it. Funny angle because I can't get it straight on the table right now, but to open box, release locking tabs 1 and 2, lay box so that the arrows face upwards, open box using 3. Oh, I suppose it's trying to make sure you get it the right way around, but let's have a look at it though. Now I'm going to precariously balance it forward, and I know I'm making it go upside down, but I'm not opening it yet. But I want to show you slowly but surely. There's an A3010, and then there's the big logo. Oh dear, this is heavy. Let's zoom out even more so you can maybe see a bit more. Oh no, that is all that zooming I can do. I can't do anymore. But it is the Acorn 3010. So that's what I've been wanting. Now let's precariously get it on the table and make sure I don't drop anything and squash all my wires and everything. You can probably tell by my voice how heavy it is. No, I'm not saying I'm a huge buff guy or anything like that, but I'm not exactly a weakling either, and it is heavy. It all seems to be on this one side. So let's do tabs 1, 2 and 3. Right, let's precariously balance it. There we go. So top left hand corner, so it's a good place to start. Quest for Gold. Appears to be a computer game. Floppy disk inside and some instructions. I'm assuming it's another Olympics rip-off. Well, it sure looks like an Olympics rip-off, doesn't it? But there we go. And we've also got your introduction and guide to Risk OS 3. Maybe see that a bit better there? There's sessions 1, 2 and 3 and 4, so that's going to be a lot of listening. It's a good job I actually do have a tape deck I can listen to it on. Maybe I'll mess around, turn it into an MP3 and listen to it for falling asleep to. A mouse, nice 3-button mouse. Rollerball one. I might replace this at some point and get an adapter so that I can use a more modern mouse. You know, one of these. As long as it works on the PS2 standard, not the console, but the old way of doing mice. But the sort of like USB ones that still used the PS2 standard, even though they're USB. VGA cable and an RF cable, because funnily enough, this machine has actually got a RF connection, a modulator in it, like the more modern versions of the Amiga and the Atari ST. That was the one I was trying to think of, because the Atari ST didn't initially come out with that. Oh, there's a lot of weight in this. I bet this is half of the weight that's in the box. Some books, which don't want to come out. There we go. Well, that's a very... Oh, it's actually 2 books. A welcome guide. And then the user guide, applications guide. Dear me. Look at that, the way that books used to be in computers and everything, you'd learn everything about them, not just turn it on and play. But yeah, so you're supposed to read all of that, are you? We'll see. Can't say I've always been one for reading manuals, only when I get stuck, really stuck. Otherwise I just keep clicking until it breaks. Strange on how the discolouring has happened. It seems to, I don't know if you can quite see it there, but this browny bit here is a bit here. I realise there's a fair bit of shadow happening, but I can't really get past that right now. But that bit there is actually discolouring to the cardboard. Yet more books. Dear me. Release note on version 3.10. I was really hoping that this machine would have 3.11, but this is kind of an indication to this is an earlier version of the motherboard. We'll see more about that later. Different currents for the mouse and joysticks and things like that. And how to get into the upgrade area. Oh, they must have had a monitor for it at the original owners, but I've not seen that. That's a shame, because that would have been a nice monitor to have. Family solutions, maneuver software, end user license conditions, adverts, and easy word. Oh, yes word, making every document look professional. An IDE interface user guide, because it has got a hard drive inside. So that might come in handy later, so I'll put that at the front. Put all that back. And what's in this last cardboardy bit? Oh, seem to have dragged up all the cardboard box with it. Oh well. I'll faff around with that later. What's this? More stuff about the hard drive upgrade. Don't know what that bit of plastic is. It seems like it's some chips or something. Maybe that. And memory upgrade. And then the shielding and the original back plate to the Archimedes to the computer. So at least they're in there. So if I change my mind and do something else with it, at least I've still got the back plate. Sorry for the rustling, I will try to keep that down. Now, the problem I have is I can't take this out and put it somewhere without scaringly maybe dropping this on the floor or something like that. I can't get this out of the way. So what I'm going to do is stop the video, start it again. You'll just see a nice little fade. So here we are. That whole bit of cardboard comes out, and then this is the way that the machine's packed. So sadly the cardboard seems to have been ripped at some point. Don't think that's just me turning it upside down before. I think this is just the years of it being bashed around, quite frankly, because this machine's very, very old now. Some, what would it be, some 26, 27 years ago that this machine came out. But doesn't seem to be any obvious breaks, but again, I can't get this out of here without knocking everything all over. So another fade. And back again. So let's have a look at the back of this machine. We've got the parallel port, serial port, a couple of joystick ports, which was new for this machine. The A3010 didn't have joystick ports. You had to use a serial adapter to get joysticks off of that. So actually, a lot of the games supposedly don't actually use joystick, at least from what I've read. I don't know if it's true or not, but from little bits in forums I've read, glancing through. A mouse port, which was sort of like Acorn's own version of doing the wiring for a mouse port. It's not a PS2 input, and I don't mean the console, I mean the old way of doing for mice. It was sort of a newer version than just serial, but not as new as USB, obviously. And I realise lots of PC users will know what I'm on about. It's just for the odd person that might not know. A stereo output, which actually has a symbol of headphones there, but I'm got it going through a SCART cable, or at least I will do, because I do have a SCART cable already for it. And then the monitor out, so the video out. I'm not too sure if I can get that going through the OSSC. I haven't done enough research to make sure if it's VGA compatible or not directly, or you need some fancy wiring. So I just bought a SCART cable that was wired correctly for this and has the 3.5mm jack for it on there. The RF modulator, and then the on-off switch. As you can see, the power's plugged straight in, so there's no fancy shaped connector like on an Amiga or the kettle plug on an ST. I'm assuming that was to make things better for within schools, because otherwise, you know, kids might be messing around with live wires, and you don't want that happening, obviously. Maybe it was a good way of doing things, but either way, the power supply unit is here in it, so I'm guessing half of that is the weight of this machine. On this side, there is actually a reset button, but you can't actually press it with your finger. Yeah. I can't even feel the button, so we used to have to jam a pen or a pencil or something like that in there to reset it. I don't know why they had it recessed like that, but the way it is, the way that they designed it. I can understand you don't want a button that's very easy to press, but at the same time I'd have thought it would have been nicer to have one that was easier to press than this. Let's have a look on the other side. Oh, there's the floppy drive, and there's a disc in already. There we go. Looks like it's a covered disc. But there's one thing missing, and that's the button. Just one moment while I show you that. Sadly, this was rattling around inside the box. It's the button. I've seen on the internet already that it's possible to 3D print these things. I've a feeling it's been knocked off because there was a floppy in, and because of that it's pushed the button out, so as it's been bouncing around inside that cardboard box it's knocked it off. Either that, it was knocked off in the first place. It is just a couple of tangs on the underside that slide into that bit of metal there, that hole. So what I might do is either 3D print a whole button, because it is possible to do that, as I said, but what I might actually do is just 3D print a small bit of plastic that has a couple of notches on it to meet these two bits in the center here. You can just about see them, and then super glue that together from the inside. You know, take the drive apart and do it the whole way like that, so that hopefully it never comes off again, because it'd be kind of nice to have the original smooth bit of plastic there instead of a obvious 3D printed one. And plus, me being me, I'd want to get some green filament for my 3D printer, and I currently don't have any of that. So if I print some black, like flat panel type thing on the underside, hopefully that'll work. So I'll design that at some point and get that working. And who knows, I might even just go straight for throwing a Gotek into here. It depends if I can get a Gotek print put in here without having to cut all this up, because I would like to keep this original. I know for other computers I've been alright for chopping them up, but that's because like the Amiga, you can get a brand new case for that nowadays anyway, and for the ST, I know I've got the Cosmos X inside that, and that basically there was no way of fitting that internally without chopping the whole case up. But this particular one, I'd like to keep the aesthetics of it the same as what it's always been. So let's get the wires plugged in the back and safely put this button somewhere so I don't lose it. So I've already plugged the SCART cable in on my OSSC. Let's what I'll do is actually fade and come back in and out again. So turning it on for the first time. Nice solid click. Hard drive spinning up. Floppy drive is making a noise. Picture on the screen. Graphics on the screen. Always a good sign. Let's see the operating system kick in. And there we go. So let's have a look at some information. If I remember rightly, press the middle button and you can slide up and go for info. And it has in fact got 3.10 installed. And it says it was the 30th of April. That's a bit of a shame. It'd be nice to have the 3.11, but that means then that this particular one is an early motherboard. From what I understand, the seller said before that they said they replaced the battery, but basically the huge capacitor that's in there, or maybe it is a battery, the same for the Amiga and things, is that when it goes and it takes a lot with it. They say they've replaced it, so I'll have a check in that later on, but that's what they said they'd done. So I'm not too worried about that right this minute, but it would have been nice to have the 3.11 operating system. Let's left click this now and slide down to the bottom, and it says that it has 2 megabytes. It would have been nice to have the whole 4 megabytes. I'm not too sure how to check how big the hard drive is. I don't know enough about Archimedes things right now. The point is, it has got a hard drive inside and it seems to be working. Let's have a look inside these folders. Just general stuff. Let's have a look at the magnifying glass, just to show that it does something. The way that the Archimedes does things is that it throws the program down to the bottom right, and then you've got to click it again to actually start using it. So yeah, this could be very useful for some people to have a magnifying glass. Those with poor eyesight, or even if you haven't and you're trying to look at some kind of picture and you wanted to know pixel by pixel what's happening. How do we come away from this? Press escape, I assume. There we go. Press middle button. Oh, you can change the size of it and how much it magnifies. We'll quit that for now. What's this TV test? Oh, there we go. Obviously I've maybe got things a little bit squashed, but we'll sort that out some other time. Come away from there. What's in the past times? Let's got some games. Oh no, opera. Oh, that's not so great. Well, there isn't really anything on here by the looks of it, so let's have a look at the applications. So there's the default applications. You've got an alarm clock, calculator, blah 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 blah. So you can see from the icons what they are. Let's see how great the paint program is. Remember it not being that great when I was a kid. Spray can. Look at that box getting drawn bit by bit. So obviously it's trying to keep up. Even though it's a 32-bit computer, it's not the fastest of computers, but it was a very fast machine back in the day, so but by today's standards it's rather slow. So let's close that one down as well. Let's have a look what's on the floppy. Make sure the floppy drive's working. Trying. Oh, at least it brought up what was actually on there. Oh, there's that game again, so let's try that. Maybe someone tried to copy it across. I do have a joystick plugged in, that one that you always see to the side. So click OK and see how long it takes to load. It's loading in real time for the floppy disk. This is only a demo, so I'm not assuming a great lot from it, but it'd be nice to see how well this goes up against the Amiga version. Oh, the funs of loading from floppy. Come on. Oh, there we go. Some nice music. The animation doesn't seem so bad. Zooming in and out, and the stars zooming on past us. So press fire and see what happens. Well, the joystick works, that's good. Well, we can turn the music on and off. There doesn't seem to be any mention of sound effects. I wonder if there is any. Let's have a bit of a play at this to see how far I get. At the same time, I don't want to bore my audience. A lot of firing. I was going to cheat and put auto fire on my joystick, so I'm going to hold the button down instead of making lots of banging noises. Well, it seems to play very well. It's a shame there's no sound effects though, but maybe it's just because it's a demo version. I will be making another video for this computer, so at the top right I'll stick in that it says Archimedes, but I'll only do that when I've got the CF card reader stuff and I know it's working. The new memory, maybe the new operating system if I bother to upgrade to that 3.11. The button thing may or may not happen. Also the GoTech may or may not happen. But the point is when I get new stuff for it is when I will make a new video on this Archimedes. So I hope you look forward to that. And this has been fun to have a look through, and wonderful that it's actually working. Better than the last video where sadly that wasn't working. But this is really fun to have this. As always, happy gaming.